Alright, we're here in West Palmdale, typical bathroom inspection. I usually run all the water, and one of the things, water's been running here for a while before I turned on the camera, but one of the things we look at, you see the discharge line for the AC. Take a look around under here, make sure we're not looking at areas where it looks like the condensate line is leaking, along with your typical leaks or signs of leaks underneath here, which they don't. But an important area here to look for leaks is where this condensate is. Even if this sink isn't being used, water is going to be running down that drain for some time whenever the AC is being used. And those are nearly full. We'll come back in a minute. We want to make sure the overflow is working. That toilet's not too pretty. But having said that, the important thing to do is kind of give a toilet, we call it the home inspector shuffle, give it kind of a push. And the sound of water going down the drain. Water's been running in here for 10 minutes or so. We'll look at that again. Now, since we've come back, water's full and it's just cresting the top. Now we'll let that sit here. I don't know if you can see, but water's sitting at the overflows, which I'm not quite sure they're doing what they're supposed to here. Okay. Now, along with the obvious, we want to make sure water's getting down the drain. These are all pretty firm to the wall, which they are. Something else that's not quite as obvious, the stops haven't been set, which are the limits to make sure that water doesn't get too hot in here. It's a common defect and it's simple enough to take care of, but for an adult's bathroom maybe it's not as important, for lack of a better term. But this is a hall bathroom where kids are going to be taking a shower, and if the water heater is producing some decent hot water like it is here, this should be set back so that we're not exceeding some standards for temperature here. Make sure that the water doesn't get too hot for the users in this area. So we look in here, this tub's in really good shape. Water's going down the drain the way it's supposed to, and we'll make a note that the limits aren't set here and go from there. Now going back to these sinks, the overflow is picking up water. It's not really ideal, but it did do its job within reason. And then reconfirming that these areas are nice and dry, and they are. Want to look at the bottom of the faucet lines, bottom of the trap. Another common place to look for water is right at the top of this connector here. Even a slow leak, if you're only running water for 10 minutes or so, some will still accumulate here. And same thing again here. I'll kind of put my fingers in some of these areas. Another thing I'll do is kind of take my hands and tap the bottom of these lines in the trap, confirming that those areas are dry. And the same thing here. Kind of tap and feel these areas. Water's accumulating on any of them. Nope. That looks good. And in any case, nothing real exciting, just kind of what we do during a bathroom inspection. Now these have already been tripped, so I need to go downstairs and reset the GFI, which I will do, and go from there. Okay. We'll see you on